Tits. Just kidding. While I've never really been the type of gamer who aims to separate girls from guys, I do admit that there are certain games that are aimed more directly at a particular gender. With all due respect, games like this are usually not the types to change the world because the best games can be appreciated by everyone, regardless of your chromosomes. Bayonetta is a game about a hot stripper/witch who sucks lollipops, wears fetish glasses, uses bondage, pole dancing and torture attacks, and has more slutty bonus costumes than a single female LARPer. At first glance, it'd be more than reasonable to think, well, I'm guessing that this game aimed at pleasing the gentleman audience. And while that may be the game's intention, what with all the boner-inducing content, I can say that as a straight female gamer, men are not the only ones that can enjoy Bayonetta. Why is that, you ask? Well, although I can't think of any scenes in Bayonetta that didn't involve the Umber Witch doing something blatantly sexual, I also can't remember any times playing that something equally awesome wasn't happening. I mean, this is Hideki Kamiya we're talking about. There was enough gun blasting equivalent to zero gravity, backflipping out of nowhere, mind-melting combos, weapon slash, skyscraper-sized bosses. Regardless of gender or sexual orientation, it's pretty easy to see Bayonetta suddenly turn into a panther and think to yourself, holy shit, I just turned into a fucking panther! I did it and I ran super fucking fast! Whoa! Why can't I do that in real life? And then, if you're impervious to Bayonetta's sexy beam shupatsu, you can watch her spin on a stripper pole and just giggle. Then the game will seem hilariously campy. Bam! Silver lining. Being an action game, Bayo doesn't fail to deliver on numbingly awesome battles and fight scenes. This game will have you taking down enemies the size of islands with nothing but your guns and some witch time. And believe me, I'm not even an action head and I was pretty much freaking out with some of the crazy shit they make you do. It's almost too much. In this game, you'll turn into bats, panthers, birds of prey, you'll be able to double jump, backflip, sprout butterfly wings, slow down time, suck on dum-dums, dance on a stripper pole, pose, shoot angels, stab angels, chainsaw angels, behead angels on guillotines, crush angels with spike wheels, giant hands and huge weights, make angels sit on rape horse chairs, torture angels, shoot lipstick bullets, use your hair as a weapon. You can also turn your hair into stiletto heels, giant dragon dogs, centipedes, cockatoos, gimp suits, beefy arms, giant spiders. You can ride on tanks, fast cars, helicopters, motorcycles, missiles, falling debris, falling bosses, falling buildings, falling guys with scarves. There's so much to do that it's difficult to get bored while you play, but there are so many combos to remember and test that sometimes it's easier to just shoot and mash attacks. Torture time, or climax as it's sometimes called, is really easy and fun to initiate though, so I would almost always use it to finish off enemies. You can even practice combos on the loading screen if you need some extra time to master them. A really cool little core mechanic is the thing called witch time. You initiate it by dodging an attack at the last second. Witch time will start and eventually everything around you will move so slowly that you can pretty much do whatever you want for the next few seconds. Destroy your enemies, run through a door that was previously moving too fast, break down a door before the pieces can regenerate, and things like that. It's an interesting tool because it can be used both in combat and puzzles. When you can't figure out how to cross a bridge without the stones falling out from beneath you, you may have to use witch time to pass over them. If you're facing a particularly zippy or flexible angel like Joy, dodge an attack and use witch time to beat the hoe out of her. Most can benefit from you slowing down time anyway, so it's pretty neat and it's easy to execute. So Bayonetta is practically one big cherry pie of hot graphics, dad action, and sexy sex. What else are you expecting? Well, I hope nothing, because that's close to all you're getting in this one, kiddo. But Elle, someone cries, what about the story? Don't you see, you've opened Pandora's box with such questions. I had more than a little trouble trying to understand the plot of this game. So Bayonetta, who was asleep for 500 years, but then she woke up and didn't remember anything about her past. There are Umbra witches and Lumen sages that have two eyes of the world which control time. They disappeared and now Bayonetta kills angels because they talk in really cryptic low voices and have unsettling cherubic faces. Then there's a guy with a scarf whose dad was killed by Bayonetta, but he can't help being hypnotized by her huge boobs. And there's another Umber witch who wears a bit more clothing than Bayonetta and thus has zero sex appeal, so she's not really worth mentioning anyway. I like to think of Bayonetta as the IHOP of games, 24-hour pancakes, and all action all the time. And I know I'm one to gripe on about how games with stories are the way to go, but it's also worth considering that a game is a game because it's fun, not because it's an epic rise and fall and the characters are all developed deep eponines. In the end, Bayonetta is still a vastly enjoyable, sexy and/or campy hop, skip and a jump through a glittery world of bondage and insane combos. It won't be hard to replay over and over, as I'm sure most people aren't trying to relive Bayonetta's grand adventure again and again. Plus, you can always unlock Bayonetta's surprisingly scanty wardrobe of extra costumes and get tons of other weird fetish things. It's certainly not perfect, but there wasn't any glaring issue that wasn't compensated for, and honestly, almost nobody can testify that it's not fun to shoot missiles out of a missile at other missiles while riding a missile. A missile made of tits. No, I'm just joking. Sort of.